it live. Okay. Well, do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike your match, and oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
This is what we call round 2 of live shows during the course of the day. Welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show. This is the show where we talk about all things important in the world of barbecue and grilling. The show originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio. The barbecue capital of the North Coast and the world today, for that matter. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evening's live fire fun and frivolity show. If you'd like to get in contact with me this evening, or more importantly, you'd like to follow the show during off-show hours, here's how you do all that.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at bbqcentralshow.com. Follow us on all the social media channels at BBQ Central Show. And be sure to subscribe to the show podcast feed on your favorite podcast platform.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you can get the newsletter coming up in about 12 minutes from now. He was a first-time guest almost 4 years ago to the day, to the month, very close. But he is back. He is better than ever. He continues to blow up ever since he saw audience on this show. His fame has risen to cataclysmic heights. And we're going to break it all down, see what's happening in his life. But more importantly than that, we'll talk a little Barbecue Hall of Fame. We'll talk about the events that took place in Memphis this past weekend. I am, of course, talking about the owner of Phillips Barbecue Company, Rasheed Phillips, TV star, pitmaster, the list goes on. So looking forward to getting caught up with Sheed, and then 35 past the first hour. It is the third Tuesday of a month, and you know what that means. Our business correspondent, creator of CookoutNews.com, Wes Wright, joins us. Plenty of business, plenty of new stuff. There's some drawings out there from a really big name that we're going to be talking about as well. So it's not in production, but it could get to production. But he has found some drawings that make it very unique in the space that it's going to be playing it. So Wes Wright to round out the first hour. Then we move to the second hour. Quarterly appearance number 1 of 2024. Founder of Hey Grill Hey, Associated Brands and or Internet Properties and Businesses, Susie Bullock. And there could be a guest appearance by Taste Test Todd Bullock. Taste Test Todd, 3 T's. So tonight we name him Triple T. He doesn't even know that, but I just thought of it. So there's a really good chance tonight in the second hour. We're not todding him. We're not Taste Ted todding him. We're immediately addressing with Triple T. It's got a ring to it. We're going to make it work. Then closing out the show, first-time guest, creator of Married to Barbecue and MarriedToBarbecue.com, Brianna Stark out of Houston, Texas. So excited to have Brianna on and talk to her about her whole barbecue career and what she's been up to. Some other things as well. So that's how the show is shaking out here this evening. Rasheed Phillips and Wes Wright, first hour. Susie Bullock, Brianna Stark, second hour. Don't forget you can follow me socially, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, the Snapper Snaps, and of course the ever popular LinkedIn, all with the handle at BBQ Central Show. We say good evening to those of you watching tonight through one of our video streaming platforms. You can go to facebook.com/BBQ Central Show or twitter.com/BBQ Central Show. Lastly, but not least importantly, you can watch on YouTube, which is youtube.com/@BBQ Central Show, where we have a YouTube poll question of the week running. We're asking everybody this, including all guests. You actively kept tabs on the results of both contests in Memphis this past weekend, and currently 62% of you are saying no. There were contests this past weekend in Memphis? Never heard of it. Didn't know anything about it. Well, there were, even though 62% of you didn't keep tabs, which means 38% of you did, along with myself. Results from the poll question of last week: you believe that Sam's Club can sell a well-built, feature-rich grill at a value price. That ended up with 56% of you saying, yeah, you do believe that that is the case. 43% of you said no. Not sure exactly where the 1% is missing to get us to 100%, but maybe there was a undecided part of the question that I didn't recognize. Matt Osmond weighing in the chat. Greg, where's the ascot tonight? No ascot tonight. Only for the most high-level occasions like the Barbecue Hall of Fame, which we'll talk about here in the second hour. I did wear the ascot. I didn't get a lot of feedback on that, which I was wondering about. I also wore an ascot last night to Marley's high school graduation. It appears the shirt that I was wearing was competing with the ascot that I was also sporting, so it made the look a little uncohesive, a little hip adjacent. So today I went solid colored shirt and then red or wine colored ascot, and that seemed to work out quite. It's more of a maroony colored ascot, not red. Got to get one of those too. But that's the unofficial poll question of the week. Like, what do you think about ascots? Like, just jump in the YouTube chat and give me your thoughts. Is that an ostensibly stuffy look? Do you associate it with shitheads and snobs? Or is this something that can be brought back as long as you're seeing it out there actively? It's something that you can get behind because you have buttons undone. It's supposed to be more of a relaxed look, where a tie would be your most formal look. The ascot is supposed to bring it down a level, be a little bit more approachable. But I think in many stereotypical situations, you think it might be a little more stuffy than not. So that's the secondary poll question of the week. And we start here this evening. First and foremost, let's go ahead and give a hearty congratulations, hand clasp, and well-placed smack on the fanny for the third time winning overall grand champ at Memphis in May, the Shed. Good for you. It is their fourth whole hog win as well. This win moves them into what I am classifying as very elite status at Memphis in May. Only Jack's Old South and Big Bob Gibson's have won more overall grand championships. This one ties them, the Shed, with the legendary team Apple City Barbecue, of course, headed by Mike Mills, for what I guess would be the second most overall grand championship wins, because Jack's Old South and Big Bob Gibson are both deadlocked at 5 overall GCs at this moment. Chris Lilly was in the mix again this year. If you didn't know the category results over at Memphis in May, the Shed wins hog. Obviously, they also go on to win overall. Pork shoulder, Big Bob Gibson's winning another one. And ribs, 2 out of 3 years, I believe it was, Heath Riles Barbecue won the ribs category. And as I'd mentioned, the Shed wins it all as the finalists hit the stage. Then there was a smoke slam event that was going on 6 miles in some direction. Overall grand championship, Smoke Masters, a team I've never heard of. They had categories of pulled pork, winning their Porkers, Ribs winner, Smoke Masters, the overall GC, and Whole Hog was Hog Addiction. Now, for point of reference, Smoke Masters won a total of $90,000 over the course of the weekend. $50,000 for the overall title, which we knew about. $12,500 for second place hog. $12,500 for a second place pulled pork. They did both of those. $15,000 for winning the ribs category.
Here comes the money.
Come on now.
Here
A
comes
huge
the money.
congratulations to Will Hare and his team for pulling a ton of cash and punching tickets to World Food Championships in Indy in November. So for real, where do you sit on this whole deal? Would you like to be the Shed and win Memphis in May and a check for $26,000? Or would you rather be Smoke Masters and win the inaugural Smoke Slam, but also taking home $90,000 in your pocket? I said $90,000 in your pocket. That's a lot.
Here comes the money.
Here's a question. I'm wondering if this is weird. Thursday, from 6 to 7 p.m. last week, there was a VIP meet and greet with Carrie Bringle, who was a Smoke Slam steering committee member and participant. But then you also, according to the documentation, had Heath Riles, Memphis in May contestant, and Myron Mixon, also a Memphis in May contestant, at Smoke Slam doing a meet and greet. Is that weird? Give me your thoughts on that while we're getting through the show as well. I think that's it for the open. Plenty to talk about. We could just run the show all me for 2 hours, but we're not going to do that. We have Rasheed Phillips ready to go. Before we get to him, let's talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about it. Let's talk about it. The Members Mark Pro Series 5 grill, gas grill. Patented thermostatic gas grill technology, thoughtfully designed and engineered with materials specifically selected for the durability and performance. The Firebox, for instance, was designed to deliver the ultimate in heat retention, durability, and premium corrosion resistance. Every detail of this cooking system has been fine-tuned to ensure superior and consistent cooking performance, including heavy gauge cooking grates. Where do all the manufacturers cheap out? Cooking grates. You want to save a few bucks, you want to cut costs, you want to give a lower retail price, cheap out on the cooking grates, of course. Not here. Stainless steel bar grates that you're finding on the Elite lines. But they're right here on the Members Mark Pro Series. They also have a powerful 304 stainless steel burner, weatherproof channel electronic ignition system that offers the most reliable ignition in the industry. It's the Members Mark Pro Series with thermostatic control available at your local Sam's Club store. You go to Sam's Club all the time. Did you know they sell grills? They do. And the people that make that grill are very excited about it. That's why they wanted to come here on this show and tell you all about it. Here's what I know. I have a fleet of grills in the backyard. When I know that I'm liking a grill, it's not what's the retail price, it's not bells and whistles, it's none of that. Is out of all of the cookers that I have through various different fuels, which one am I looking to actually cook on? What am I trying to put together from a recipe standpoint in order to use that grill and maximize its capabilities? Right now, it's the Pro Series, there's no doubt about it. I love the oven mode. If I want to dial in that specific temperature, or if I want to treat it just like a regular grill, I can work the knobs, do it like that. Sleeper benefit, that infrared side burner. So I want to do sauces or boil some water, I can really do it. Not like those pizza crap side burners that you get on most of the other grills. But you know what you want it for. You're done reverse searing, you're done sous videing. You want something that is going to sear the shit out of that steak. That infrared burner gets real hot. Trust me on that. Again, only available at your local Sam's Club store. It's the Members Mark Pro Series gas grill. both a 4-burner and a 5-burner option. We are back with Rasheed Phillips right after this. Stick around, be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by cookinpellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. You visit cookinpellets.com and see what they have for sale, and then when you're ready to purchase, you go to Amazon.com or Lowe's.com or Walmart.com. Same great products, even better shipping rates. My first guest tonight made his first appearance on the show, the end of September back in 2020. You can believe it. Shame on me for not having him back on since then. But we rectify that issue tonight as we have a number of topics to talk about. You might remember him from the first season of American Barbecue Showdown on Netflix in the teeth of COVID, or his successful barbecue business, Phillips Barbecue Company, or his weekly podcast called This Week in Barbecue, or all of that. Happy to welcome back our friend Rasheed Phillips. Rasheed, great to have you. We have a YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests here. You got me tonight, Chief? We here? We good? Something's different. Rasheed, you got me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, all right, here we go. You were in one shot, and then all of a sudden you're in this shot, so as long as you can hear me, we're good to go.
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. I didn't know what on earth was. Oh my!
Get that background set up, right? Yeah. YouTube poll question of the week. Of course, I know the answer to this. You actively kept tabs on both contests during the course of the weekend that happened in Memphis, yes or no?
Yeah, yes, I did.
65% of the YouTube voting public did not keep tabs on the contests that were going on in Memphis. Before we get to that, the 2024 Barbecue Hall of Fame was announced at 3 p.m. Eastern this afternoon, exclusively here on the Barbecue Central Show. Not sure if you caught it or not, if you've seen the associated social media tweets since then to see who's gone in. Any high-level thoughts on the class this year?
I think it's very interesting.
Interesting how?
Honestly, I do. I think the whole Hall of Fame thing, it's almost not necessarily laughable. It's prestigious. It's supposed to be, but it's kind of out of date and decades behind. It's sort of like giving Denzel an Oscar now instead of giving it to him for numerous other films. You know, it's like, hey, we know we missed it. We know we messed up. Perfect example. Leonardo DiCaprio wins an Oscar for the film in which he has 2 lines the entire movie, but none of the 8 previous. It's like, we messed up. We're trying to make it right. So I think it's a lot of let's make it right.
Is that just due to immaturity? And when I say immaturity, I mean just lack of being around so long. You look at other sports halls of fame and some of these other things. I mean, they got a lot of track record behind them, a lot of years behind them, not necessarily so much with the Barbecue Hall of Fame. So if you were taking it over like 7 or 8 years ago, how would you have initially set it up to make it right going forward?
I think the best way to make something right is just to admit that you were wrong in the first place. That never happened. No one ever stepped up and said, hey, yeah, this is wrong. It's been wrong. We really need to make it right. We're going to do 2. We're going to induct a new batch, and we're going to induct who should have been inducted in the first place. We're going to backdate it a little bit.
So who should have been in? Like, where how much is wrong, I guess?
I think one of the just blatant is talk about the foundation. Where was it started? Hey, we're just giving this to the unknowns because we just don't even know their names. These legends and stories and those figures that are blurred out in the background of the images that we see of all of these cooks, we just don't know who they are, but it sort of started here. These are the roots, give a little educational lesson on it first, and then go in and say, all right, now so-and-so and so was inspired, and you can see these attributes and so forth from here on out. Like, how's Arthur Gates not in there? What happened? We're just going to skip over that. We're going to serve the dish. We're going to serve the product coined by him, but we're not going to put him in there. Okay, cool.
So do you like the Barbecue Hall of Fame then, or you discount it? You're allowed to have a personal opinion, obviously.
No. I like what the Barbecue Hall of Fame thinks that it is. That's what I like about it. I like what it thinks that it is. And I like that it thinks it so much that it believes it, but I don't believe it is what it really wants to be yet. Is there still plenty of road to turn things around? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Will it happen? We both know the answer to that.
If they approached you to be on the names committee next year, would you be down for that?
No.
No? Wouldn't you see that as an opportunity to potentially try and help right the injustices?
That has the same outcome as Obama being president. It doesn't. You can only be on the board. Not going to change everything. 8 years can't change 400.
Yeah.
Me jumping on now can't change, multiple decades. I don't think it's far gone. I think just like most of the infrastructures that are set up incorrectly and need true change, dismantle it, start over.
If you look at the list of 10 names, 4 went in today. Of the 6 that remained off, if you could have one unilateral vote to stick one of those 6 in, who would it be and why?
That I'll have to come back to. That's not as much of an immediate, gut response as one would think.
Do you like dates? The food?
Do I like base?
Dates.
Yeah.
Like dates?
Yeah.
Memphis was the place to be this past weekend for barbecue competitions and events. In the old home of Memphis in May, Tom Lee Park, we saw the first year event Smoke Slam happen. Back in Liberty Park, we saw Memphis in May happen. So just to start, your high-level take on having spent personal time at both events. What did you like? What didn't you like?
High level, immediate, got to see my buddies. Got to see the professor, catch up with Tuffy, sit and enjoy an amazing conversation with Chris Lilly and everyone. That high level is always great. Seeing them split across, still getting a chance to hang out with Al, that's always my favorite. Creating new memories, hanging out with them as just a colleague and an ally there. That felt great. And it was great to see all of them, even though they were all sort of dispersed and separated one side or the other.
Do you have a take on having 2 events roughly 6 miles apart happening on the same weekend in the same city?
Yeah. My personal take is someone was trying to make a point and a point was made. It's not really any even competent on it. If you think that there wasn't a greater competition aside from the competitors turning boxes, you're delusional. You have the new event taking place at the old event location. They've locked in a 10-year deal, right? They're getting some of your top name previous pitmasters to come over. They're increasing the cash total prize by $100,000. They're getting greater musical acts. They're putting in so much attention to detail. It's outrageous. Yeah, I definitely think a statement was trying to be made, and it was made.
So what do you think the fallout of, I'm going to assume, because you mentioned the 10-year deal when Melzy Wilson was on the show, she announced, I think for the first time at that point, that there was quite a lengthy agreement in place. look, I'm sure there's ripcord after ripcord installed in that agreement, depending on how both sides feel like they're getting along here between Memphis River Parks Partnership and MemphoFest or whoever's really in charge of that whole thing. But outside of that, do you think that there is a hope or a press to combine these two? Because I don't see how you're going to be living in Memphis with what could be two big competitions competing on the same weekend. It almost seems counterproductive, other than let's see whose dick is bigger. Pardon my French.
No. It's definitely a pissing contest right now. There's no question about that. And I would actually say a few points. This is a very big time for Memphis MA. This is a big time for the World Food Champ. This is 10 to 15 years from now when we look back, if they've declined, 2024 will be the year that we look back on and say, this is when it started. Because what happened, SmokeSlam caught them on their heels. That's point blank period. I mean, the murmurs of SmokeSlam really came out end of October, November, December-ish to turn around and become, full fruition in 5 months, $250,000 cash prize. Top names like Erica Blue Smoke Blair, Melissa Cookston, Myron Mixton, Derek Wolf, Al Fragoni, all of those guys coming in to showcase and amazing brand partnerships. All of that in a 5-month turnaround, really? That's saying something. But they did it in a way where you can have SmokeSlam in Vegas. Could you imagine SmokeSlam Vegas? SmokeSlam Texas? SmokeSlam anywhere? It's the World Food has just been so linked to Memphis in such a way that if I'm one of the guys pulling the strings for SmokeSlam, my play is I'm not staying in Memphis. I'm taking this bad boy on the road, especially when the season starts. I'm doing it at least 3 times a year during the summer. I would have looked at Memphis as my beta test. What worked? What didn't? What scaled? What do we need to reduce? Did the people in there work? I would keep that. Keep my initial set of group of pitmasters and then go out and find some locals in certain areas I can really do something.
When people say, well, the big teams all still went to Tiger Lane, Tiger Alley, Liberty Park to compete.
Yeah.
And there would have been more weight if 3 or 4 of those stalwart Memphis MA teams defected over to SmokeSlam. That would have made it a little bit more of a razzle-dazzle. But a lot of the big teams stayed in Memphis. Do you think that there's a time where you're going to see a Big Bob Gibson's or a Jack's Old South, or you name whoever the big team that seems to win every year defects over to SmokeSlam, or would they split team?
Question for you. Do you go fishing? Have you ever been fishing?
No, fishing is terrible.
So I grew up on a farm in Jamaica. My grandfather was a fisherman. We'd go out early in the morning, right? And he'd always look over the beach and I asked him, Grandpa, what are you doing? And he'd say, I'm going where everyone isn't because there's more fish there. If I'm someone entering this competition, I could go where the big names are, the monstrous whales coming in, sucking up all the food, all the fish before I get there. Or if I know I've consistently always gotten pretty close, I'm going to the new thing with a larger cash prize and a greater percentage of me winning. Because what everyone keeps forgetting about Memphis MA, the first year of Memphis MA, it wasn't Memphis MA. It wasn't prestigious. There wasn't $150,000 total cash prize. It wasn't even a SmokeSlam, right? It was hodgepodge put together. Now look at it. Now it's gotten prestigious. I think SmokeSlam skipped the line in a lot of good ways. And now if I'm someone competing there, I'm competing where I can be the champion that people have to keep coming after to beat and where I have a greater chance of winning. I'll let you guys go ahead and duke it out. Who's got the biggest stick here and there? Right now, I'm going to rack up these title wins because it was sanctioned.
Yep, no doubt. And look, I'm always been a business guy. I talk about money on the show all the time. Smoke Masters walks away with $90,000 and prize winnings. I don't know what their expense layout is, but even if it was $50,000, they're pocketing $40,000, which still is a more or less unheard of amount to win at a weekend contest. I mean, usually you're taking, 8 or 9 wins to get something like that, probably even more than that in a lot of different sanctioning bodies. So tremendous amount of money. I thought this was the best year for any team to go over and, take their hand at winning all of this money and then seeing where it goes into year 2. From a settings standpoint, Tom Lee Park and Liberty Park. I don't know if you've been to Liberty Park before. I assume you've been to Memphis in May on Tom Lee Park before. How does Smoke Slam feel in their setup as compared to a previous Memphis in May at Tom Lee Park setup?
It feels more inclusive, right? Tom Lee's obviously rather large, right? But the way they set everything up, they had your ancillary activities lead you into the main show events. So you're walking, you get to pass by your vendors, your carnival rides, your things of that nature. And as you approach, you're getting closer and closer to your fruits, to your competitors, to your vendors, and then to your showcases, like your Alfregonis, Open Fire Extravaganza, to your MBBQA, their demonstration area, to all of that. I think it was really well laid out and easy to track and monitor. And you felt as though you were in just a city of barbecue versus where Memphis wasn't bad laid out, but you still sometimes feel like you're slightly on top of one another in a sense. And then there's some that are just so casted far off, you wonder if they're even part of the event. I think Smoke Slam, just from literally being boots on the ground and hoofing, I think we were clocking north of 20,000 miles a day out there, back and forth between the places. You felt like you were part versus like, wow, everything is so spread. It's just not even worth me going back over there to go see it.
Did you hear any complaining at Liberty Park about Memphis May not being in Tom Lee Park and having the majestic Mississippi River being part of the background? You didn't hear any of that?
No. Because everyone was just focused on, I want to go see so-and-so. And that's also the hard part about Memphis in May. If you're not competing and if you're not a pitmaster, you really can't go into the areas. You're window shopping at best, or you can pay additional money on top of your entry ticket and so forth to go into the Big Green Egg area, who is still charging separate admission to allow people in there. Obviously, the big deal last year, some people call it the death knell, as I was corrected last week. The huge damage bill. So when you're at Tom Lee Park, how did you think it was set up to guard against damage? And was there any talk that you heard of about things not being the way they should and that there could be a big damage bill headed Mempho Fest way or Smoke Slam's way? No, that's a good question. That's something we noticed right off the bat. When they built the infrastructure, they really built it to make sure nothing was touching the ground and mitigate any issues. Even Al's location, there was your normal walk path, and then there were platforms built above the ground so nothing was touching the ground. You stepped into everything. The VIP and its huge layout and its suites and all of that, you stepped up into it so the ground stayed protected.
What do you got coming up you want to promote, Rasheed?
For me, we've got a lot of fun stuff. We'll be at the Daytona 500 this week. We're going to be at the Grand Prix in Detroit next week. I've got a very special supper club that I'm doing with Ghazni, so you guys can keep your eye out for that. My date and my appearance, we're literally last minute type of thing, popping into various cities. So stay tuned, check that out. Really excited about doing Smoking Out the Hub with Pops, aka Mr. Kevin Bloodsoe. We've got some wonderful talent and amazing pitmasters coming up. We've got Les Rose of Les BBQ. Everyone knows him for his monstrous oxtail that he smokes. Congratulations to him on opening up his recent location. We've got Auntie Delilah coming in making amazing dishes. Season 2 Barbecue Showdown runner-up, Logan Sandoval, he's going to be there as well. AB, just an amazing cast and lineup of like-minded chefs and pitmasters that are going to be out in Compton at the Crystal Casino, July 26th and 27th.
Nice. A lot of things going on in the world of Rasheed Phillips, but he's got a few minutes to spare here as we're breaking down Memphis in May and Smoke Slam. She'd appreciate you coming back on the show. And by the way, if you like barbecue podcasts, you're not already subscribed, make sure you're subscribed to This Week in Barbecue. Great listen every week. Appreciate the time here tonight. We'll do it again sooner than later, Rasheed.
Definitely, brother. Appreciate it, bud.
You got it? Rasheed Phillips right there. By the way, his website, Phillips Barbecue, and that's BARBEQUECO, PhillipsBarbecueCo.com if you want to check out his website, and you probably link over to social media and all that stuff as well. Pulling no punches, getting after the Hall of Fame in the beginning. We're talking little Memphis events this past weekend. Love it. Way to fire up the show. Wes Wright is ready to go. Before we get to him, we're talking about this stainless steel beauty right here, the Schwank Grill. So first and foremost, don't waste any time. Save your $150 by going over to schwankgrills.com, SCHWANK, schwankgrills.com. And then as you're checking out, and you do have 2 fuel options. Liquid propane, like hooking up to a bottle, or you can go natural gas into the house if you have a converter like that. But either way, if you use promo code BBQ Central at checkout, you can save $150 off any Schwank grill. Now, this unit can get up to 1,500 degrees using infrared burner technology. You might be asking yourself, is this something that is only used in the backyards? Not hardly. Used in some of the most impressive and famous steakhouses across the country, like Morton's, Cut 432, Del Frisco's. They're not just using infrared burner technology, they're using the Schwank infrared burner technology. And it's not just for doing high power on your steaks to get that sear. As you're seeing here in the video, if you wanted to do homemade creme brulee, or you wanted to make some crispy Brussels sprouts, or maybe you got some delicate seafood, you can do all of that. And again, with 7 or 8 different cooking levels, if you don't need the full intensity of 1,500 degrees raining down on your protein or whatever it is that you're cooking, you can bring it down, you can bring it away. Choose the intensity you want, cook the way you want, but just know it's going to be done a hell of a lot quicker than it normally is because this thing is built to cook. Get it in your backyard as grilling season opens this coming weekend. Remember, it's Memorial Day. What better way to treat yourself than with a Schwank Grill? Use promo code BBQ Central at checkout. That's schwankgrill.com. You can link over through the show notes on the podcast page. You can click the logo on the main page of the website. And you can also link over on the newsletter if you're subscribed to that. Bunch of different ways to find it. schwankgrills.com. We're back with Wes Wright from cookoutnews.com. Stick around. Be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
Welcome back. We thank Rasheed Phillips for joining us last segment. This portion of the show being brought to you by Fireboard 2 and Fireboard 2 Drive. Connect simultaneously to 6 different temperatures if you want through Wi-Fi, cloud-based monitoring, or via Bluetooth if you want. I did both over the weekend because the power went out in my house and I had no Wi-Fi router. So I had to connect via Bluetooth and it worked just as well. Fireboard.com is the place to go, or call 816-945-2232. My next guest runs cookoutnews.com, a website that is giving you the inside scoop on all the business and associated stuff in the live fire industry. A third Tuesday of the month, regular guest here, 35 past the first hour. We are happy to welcome back our pal Wes Wright. All right, Wes, we have a YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests, of course. You actively kept tabs on both contests in Memphis this past weekend, yes or no?
I'm going to say no. I passively kept tabs on.
65% of the YouTube voting public are saying that they did not actively keep tabs on the contests that were going on in Memphis. Did you not care that much to keep active tabs or not really think about it?
I kind of followed it. I'd see an article here or there, or, I saw Heath Riles got, I think, first in ribs. I saw on his Instagram, which is cool. So I just watched kind of passively like that.
I don't know if you heard the Barbecue Hall of Fame announcement earlier today. Again, aired exclusively here on the show, 3 p.m. Eastern. But if you did, your take on the 2024 class.
I didn't hear it, Greg.
You didn't?
No.
Well, all right. Do you know who was on the 10 finalists from a couple weeks ago?
I don't. I've been sick, so I'm a little behind.
All right.
Fill me in.
All right. Well, Diva Q made it. First time nominee. Do you know who Rick Brown is?
No.
No? Rick Brown, TV, barbecue guy. I think he wrote some books with the same title as a TV show. Also a first time nominee. And then you had third time nominee Steve Grotti from North Carolina restaurant guy, 89 years old, I believe. I heard that correctly. So a guy that's been doing it for decades and a specific style of barbecue. And then rounding out the four was Fast Eddie Moore and, of course, the creator of FEC Cooker, amongst a bunch of other stuff. So that's what the living class looks like. And then there were 3 posthumous members or legacy members that were put in as well that I'm not going to remember the names off the top of my head. But I have all that in the second hour. So tune in. I'll give you the breakdown of everything that happened from 3 p.m. on. 2 months in a row, Wes, we mention a brand that no one continues to really know about, which we both agree is a shame, that being Broil King. And they're looking to add a newish type of ceramic cooker to the segment. What do they have going on?
Yeah, they have their, I think they call it a Kamado Keg IQ, which is their version of a Kamado grill. It takes their IQ system that they released earlier this year on gas grills, where you can set a temperature and the controller will control it on your grill, or you can adjust it from your phone. They brought that technology to a Kamado grill, but it's not just like the Connected Joe where it controls temperature and that's it. It's also dual fuel, so they have a traditional pellet hopper on the side, with an auger that goes to a fire pot that sits below where the charcoal bed would be. So you can pick which one you want to use with the grill.
Do they have that with the gas grill too?
No. That's just the controller's the same. And it's kind of funny too.
Wait. So this is a charcoal. I'm showing my ass like I'm talking about it like I know. I was going to school you on the history of that cooker, but now obviously I haven't kept up with the revisions and the genesis of this thing since I obviously lost track of it. But so this can be operated as a traditional charcoal ceramic, but then it has a built-in pellet hopper on it as well?
Yeah, sort of like I think for Big Green Egg or some other Kamado grills, you can buy like aftermarket pellet, functionality for them. It's sort of like that, but it's built in. Yeah, it's dual fuel. It's kind of cool, and it all runs off a controller, either fuel type.
Can you get or what kind of capacities on that hopper? Do you know?
I don't know, because here's the marketing brilliance of Broil King. So they sent out an email about it, and then you could click to read more, right? So I clicked to read more, wrote my article, and I was waiting till later to put it up and kind of proofread it and then throw in some pictures and stuff like that. later I go back to that same website that they were promoting it, and they 404'd it. They took it down, so you couldn't read it anymore. And I don't remember reading that spec on there, but they switched it now today to just coming soon, enter your email. So I don't know why they killed what they were promoting.
Any idea on price point?
No, I mean, yeah.
So do you know
I
the
don't
history
12
of this grill?
I don't know.
So I lived this is 2 homes ago. So, well into the 15 plus years ago. There was a company in maybe Atlanta or the Georgia area, because there seems to be like a lot of ceramic cookers or wannabe ceramic cookers that are in the general Georgia area. There was a company called In Zone, and they made this thing called the Bubba Keg. And originally, Bubba Keg was like a thermos. It was the Stanley before the Stanley became all the rage, usurping Yeti, I guess, to some degree. But before both of those, there was this Bubba Keg, which is still popular amongst construction guys. So they came out with this thing that was metal. It was dual walled. It had commercial grade gaskets stuffed in between the dual walls. And it was metal. Otherwise operated like a ceramic cooker that you would see, but this thing, you could literally drop it off the back of your pickup truck and you wouldn't even give a shit about it because this thing was not breaking. You could hurl it at somebody and kill them. And then InZone sold it, and then I think it was sold again, and eventually Broil King bought the Bubba Keg. So that's where the last part of the keg comes from. So they kept that portion of the name, but have since evolved it over the course of however long they've had it. So to see them stick a pellet hopper, also run on charcoal, and then have this control. Do you think this is going to be something that is going to be changing the ceramic cooker industry to any degree, or does it have that kind of potential?
I don't know that Broil King has the capacity to promote it to change the industry. If if Traeger came out with a Kamado that was dual fuel, I think then everyone would know about it. But I think it'll just, I think it'll probably be a solid smoker that will come out, and some people have it, but we won't hear a whole bunch about it.
A new kind of electric grill that might hit production at some point, coming from a leader in the space, W.C. Bradley, is, do we have a name for it, and what makes it unique?
No, there's no name. There's just a patent for using, an induction burner on an electric grill, as opposed to, just having a traditional cal rod heating element that you'll find in like an oven. The way Charbroil's been doing it with their current backyard brand, and also with the Edge, is there's like a reflector underneath the cal rod, and then their traditional, they have those infrared plates that go over top, just like on their gas grills. And so that's been pretty effective. But this is for a true induction burner like you'd find on an oven, which performs really well because it doesn't work by just deflecting heat. It actually uses electromagnetism and heats up, like on your stovetop, it would heat up like a pot or a pan and heat that. But if you took the pan off and you touch the surface, it's cold because it's using electromagnetism. So it's way faster, and it offers a lot more control. You can, just dial in a temperature, or you can kill it instantly, as opposed to like a cal rod element, which will just stay warm. So it's pretty cool. And they even talked about in their patent putting a fan system on the grill, so that way you get some convective heating too, whereas now it's just, there's nothing going on in there. It's completely still. So, we'll see if or when it comes out, but it's a good idea, and it's well suited for what they're doing because of the way that they use those infrared top that they have. It means that something can be heated with an induction system.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you want to see this come into the market? 10 being the most.
I think a 7 or 8. I like how dedicated they are to electric grills. A lot of people are like, "Oh, that's kind of nonsense," and I'm not into it. But I think it's cool. Anyone that's trying to do something innovative, I give them props for it, and they seem to really believe in electric grills.
Is it odd that no one else in the live fire space seems interested in competing in the full size grill market at this point?
Yeah, I don't know if this is true. Wikipedia said it, but I think Charbroil actually invented the electric grill supposedly like 50 years ago. But I think that people are waiting to see that there's a market for it. You know, it's a lot of, with the way that the grill market operates, a lot of it's copycat. So they want to see somebody do it first and then jump in, just like pizza ovens. We saw Uni and Gosney, and now there's 6 billion brands of pizza ovens. You know, Charbroil or WC Bradley believes there's a market for it. And it's all, you know, it's a combination. You're going to get a small amount of people that want them in place of their gas grill, but you're hopefully that there's a whole new customer base of people that don't have grills. Whereas if you're just releasing gas grills, pellet grills like that, you're trying to sell to replacement shoppers. There's not, you know, there's just a small amount of new grill purchases every year.
Are you using your current?
Yeah, actually, I use it because it's so easy. So if I know I want to grill something up quick and I'm, you know, done with a lot of time, it definitely heats up slower than a gas grill, but I plug it in, crank it up, go do what I'm doing. Then I just go back and throw some steaks or burgers on it. And I just like how easy it is. I don't have to worry if I have enough propane or enough fuel or anything like that.
I don't feel like it's got the horsepower. Like initially, yes, but then as soon as I open the hood the first time, so if I'm flipping burgers or flipping steaks, I just don't ever feel like it catches back up again.
Yeah, you want to kind of play with the like the placement of your steak on the grill. Like you wouldn't want to flip it necessarily at the exact same spot. Right, I feel like it does take off some energy. But you know, even if I only plan on cooking a few steaks, I'll heat the whole surface up to, you know, whatever temp I want. So that way I can go with one zone, then flip over to the other. So, you know, and you know, that's an example of you're working around the technology, but just that it still works easy if, you know, if you're not too worried about that temperature drop.
So the new technology would be superior to the Cal Rod then. You could really get some serious heat.
Yeah, if you look at, you know, I'm basing it off, if you look at stovetop burners that are induction, you know, they perform better than gas burners according to lots and lots of independent, you know, like consumer reports and things like that. They love those, you know, and I've used them in cooking class a long time ago, worked really well. So as long as you can kind of keep that functionality, I think it'd make a big step forward in what an electric grill can do.
Last month, you did a story on a partnership that, to me, isn't one that I've seen in the past. Not sure if it was good or bad, but certainly novel. That was the Good Charcoal Company, who I've efforted a number of times to come on the show and talk about their rise to where they're currently at. They partner with LaFrida Meats, of course, America's Butcher. How does this one work?
Yeah, when people that buy meat from Pat LaFrida Meats, they can also buy charcoal that's supplied by the Good Charcoal Company. So it's a option to buy both at the same time. You know, for a restaurant purveyor, I guess, you know, anyone that cooks with charcoal.
Between the two companies, who gets the biggest benefit from this alliance?
I'd say the Good Charcoal. Pat LaFrida, you know, is a much bigger brand in my opinion. So that halo from that branding, you know, would follow over to Good Charcoal.
They also have an exclusive charcoal product with Lowe's.
Yeah, they just came out with a briquette. And what's interesting, I don't know who got this or everyone got it, but I got in my email too earlier this week to go pick up 2 bags of the super briquettes and send them your like UPC or something, and they'll pay for it for free, apparently.
Oh, really?
I don't know if that was everyone on the mailing list.
I didn't get that. I wasn't on the mailing list for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go get 2 bags of briquettes. But yeah, they've traditionally just done lump charcoal from where they source it in Africa. But yeah, they came out with a briquette product.
Just from a charcoal longevity standpoint, are you surprised Good Charcoal's made it this long?
Yeah, I mean, they started off in, I want to say 2020. So and the way they have to buy is, you know, they're buying like container loads. So, you know, I would assume that they they didn't estimate the grill market correctly if you're kind of starting off in 2020. So yeah, they must, I'm surprised that they are still around, if I'm being honest.
Wes Wright is here telling us what's new in the world of live fire and barbecue business. You can read his website, cookoutnews.com, and you can follow him on associated social media as well. Wes, always appreciate the insight, information, and we will see you in June.
Sounds great. Thanks, Greg.
You got it. And we hope you feel better, by the way. Cookoutnews.com, and I'm, of course, interested in full-size electric grills. I'm keenly interested now on this one that he was just talking about, having the conductive burner technology. So we'll see if that one actually comes to fruition or not. Who knows? Who knows anymore? Are you tired of settling for mediocre grilling experiences? Well, if you are, it's time to step your game up.
Step your game up.
Pits and Spits charcoal grills offering the highest quality live fire cooking experience that you can get in the market today. Using either wood or charcoal, their solid fuel grills produce those classic flavors you're looking for when you have the time to fire up the grill and cook for family and friends. With a large adjustable fuel tray, you can raise and lower the fire to control and fine-tune the heat. They're taking the very popular Santa Maria style grill. Check them out at pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central and use promo code Charcoal Central. That's Charcoal Central for $150 off any charcoal grill that they sell. Once again, that's pitsandspits.com, and that's the double T on the pits and the spits. pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central and use promo code Charcoal Central for $150 off any charcoal grill that Pits and Spits sells. We're back to wrap the first hour right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And we thank Wes Wright from cookoutnews.com for joining us, giving us the information on what's new in the industry. Scrolling through the chat here, and Memphis Barbecue Supply, Jimmy Shotwell, taking first segment guest Rasheed Phillips to task. Rasheed, don't get involved with Jimmy. He's very pro Memphis in May. Very pro. Jimmy, just stay with Memphis in May. That's cool. That's cool. Don't worry about it. So we have just a little bit. Memphis Barbecue Supply. I'm pro. Jimmy, you and I agree here too. I'm pro making money, which is why you didn't see me in Memphis, because neither Smoke Slam or Memphis in May said, we'll pay you every day, we'll send the G5 for you, land you in and out of executive airports instead of major international Part 121 airports. I don't want any of that. I want exclusivity. I want fuel burners. I want environmental disaster makers, and I want to get paid. Neither were on board, unfortunately. So I stayed here this weekend, and we did graduation stuff. Why not? We're Americans. What joins us together? Religion? No. Food? No. Fast cars and women? No. Money!
Here comes the money.
Money binds us together. Come on.
Here comes the money.
I'm reaching across the aisles, for crying out loud. All right. We're going to get out of here on time. We'll point to the second hour, refresh your libations, and then we will be back. We'll get a poll update. We got some hot takes in the second hour. I'll tell you about the guests, the best moments. So stick around. We'll be right back.